Well guys, I thought I'd work on the 814 for once. I got this last fall and the guy said it had a seized engine or something, so I figured I'd take the motor off, and I got to take the hitch off first, and then there's just 4 bolts that hold the motor on, so it's no big deal. But that's my first step, is getting this hitch off, and I'm going to try to yank the motor here before dark. I got about 20 minutes, so we'll see how good I am. And then I'm going to bring it inside and dissect it. Well, I got the 14 horse Kohler out, and it is locked up solid. It don't want to move. So, you know, the gear and the key come right off, which is cool, and no big deal there. So I guess I got to take this spacer off here. What I was hoping to do is to dissect this thing. Cylinder fins are pretty rough, that's standard, but I want to take the head off at least and the flywheel and see what's cooking in this freaking thing, and if it's salvageable or not. If it's not salvageable, I'll probably just sell it. If it is salvageable, I'm going to fix it. And anyways, I'm going to take this thing apart. I'll take all the accessories off, the starter, the coil, the shroud, carburetor, all that stuff, and the head, and we'll see what we got cooking in this thing. Well, the hardest part about taking a Kohler apart is getting these stupid bolts off the flywheel screen. On my last one, I got to torch them, PB blaster them. Now I got a pair of vice grips on there around the screw, and then a pair of vice grips on the vice grips, and it actually worked on my last one. So I'm happy about that. That's the hardest part of this whole job, I think. Well, I got the shroud off, and it looks like the typical Kohler here with a freaking mouse nest in it. I've seen this many times. I'm lucky I didn't catch that whole thing on fire when I was in there with the torch heating up those bolts on the flywheel, considering that the bolt is right here and the mouse nest is about 2 inches from it. We got lucky there, so I'm gonna throw this thing out, and you know, we'll see if we can get the head off next. I squirted some PB blaster on it, and we'll see if we can crack those bolts. Well, the doofus that I got this from said it just like stopped working one day, like it was seized. Well, there's a ton of carbon and crap on the valves here, like ridiculous amounts. But I just went to take the nut off the flywheel and the motor turns over fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't see any problems at all. There's a pretty big score in the cylinder actually, but it's just like one little score, but it's pretty deep, so it probably could use honing out in a bigger piston. It's hard to tell what size piston it has in it. There's so much carbon on it, I can't tell. I'm going to have to get a wire brush and try to clean it off and see what size it is. But it definitely needs new valves. They're all rusted and pitted. And piston, you know, there's a little score in the cylinder, but I mean, it'd probably work fine just the way it is if you did a quick valve job. I'm going to try to assess the piston size and then determine if I care about the little score in the cylinder or not. And we may just slap it back together and call it a day. I might be able to take the valves out and just lap them real quick, but they are pretty rusty, so they're probably not really sealing very well. But it ain't seized like the guy said it was. It doesn't have a broken rod like I figured it did. Maybe it's just sitting around for a long time and was kind of frozen. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's fine.